These people that I'm about to present were voices for their people. They faced a lot, but were not afraid to be outspoken. Some use poetry to express themselves. They relate to what is happening today, showing us that we need to speak up and speak out against what is going on. The first person I'm going to speak on is Muhammad Iqbal. He was born 1876 and died in 1938. He was a poet and philosopher. He had a degree from Oxford, studying in law and philosophy. During his time, Muslims wanted a Muslim state. They were stopped by the West, which still had control over the economy, such as the oil. He believed Islam to be the leading force in South Asia. He also believed the importance of unity with other religions such as Christianity and Hinduism. His poems gave voice to Muslims who viewed imperialism and modernism as threats to their spirituality and divine law. In 1947, years after his passing, Muslims were granted an independent Pakistan. He was quoted for saying, "People who have no hold over their process of thinking are likely to be ruined by liberty of thought. If thought is immature, liberty of thought becomes a method of converting men into animals." This next person I'm going to talk about, her name is Gwendolyn Brooks. She was born in 1917 in Chicago and died in the 2000s. Her father was a janitor and her mother was a school teacher. They both encouraged her to write her poems. When she was 13, she published her first poem, and at the age of 17, she was publishing poems in the Chicago newspaper. She was the first African American to win the Pulitzer Prize on a book of poetry named Annie Allen. The book of poetry had sections, each section relating to a stage in the life of Annie Allen. She goes on to write more poems and even her first novel. Each poem that she writes portrays the African American people, the neighborhoods, and what they face on a daily basis. Miss Brooks was quoted saying, "When you use the term minority or minorities in reference to people, you're telling them that they're less than somebody else." Malcolm Little, born in 1925, his father was a minister and his mother was a stay-at-home mom. After his father had passed, his mother had a nervous breakdown, and her children ended up being spread about in the foster care system. In 1946, he was arrested on burglary charges. He was sentenced to 10 years, but only served 7. While in jail, Malcolm learned the teachings of the NOI, which is the Nation of Islam. Malcolm believed Little, his last name, to be a slave name, so he dropped it and changed it to X. Elijah Muhammad became his mentor and wanted Malcolm to spread the teachings of Islam. He achieved this by membership going from 500 to 30,000. He also exposed his beliefs. He believed that we shouldn't integrate, instead we should become our own state. With his speakings brought notoriety surpassing that of his mentor. He captured everyone's attention, especially the government. In 1963, he learned that Elijah was having multiple affairs, some even resulting in children. Malcolm was devastated. He felt that he was lying to people, and these lies could not be ignored. In 1964, he cut off ties with the NOI. Malcolm went on to go to the Mecca, which is something that every Muslim should experience at least once in their life. He saw different cultures and embraced them. Coming back, he revealed new beliefs on integration, and instead of just preaching to African Americans, he preached to all races. After leaving the NOI, a bounty had been put on his head. February 14th, his home had been firebombed. It was a failed attempt on his life, but a week later, Malcolm was speaking and was bum rushed by 3 men and shot 15 times.